I'm Tim Gienger from Bismarck, North Dakota. I work at West Central Human Service Center. I also work for Minot State University and Lutheran Social Services.
And what's your job title?
I'm an advanced clinical specialist at West Central, my main job, so I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker.
Okay. And tell us about your education.
Well, my education, I went to the University of North Dakota and got a bachelor's degree in social work, and then I went on from there and got my master's degree in social work also from the University of North Dakota.
So what do you do in your job?
Well, in my job at West Central, my primary job, I do individual therapy, family therapy, and some group therapy with people, which basically consists of meeting with people who have depression, anxiety, going through a tough time in their lives, and they come in here and we make things better for them.
How many hours do you normally work?
Well, my job here, I work, it's a 40-hour full-time, and then my other jobs combined probably consist to be about 10 hours, so it's about 50 hours a week. Sometimes a little bit less than that, but around that usually.
Do you take work home with you?
I don't take work home, which is actually one of my favorite parts about the job, is that it leaves and stays here when I leave, and so I don't take any work home with me, so I can just come in and see the people I need to see and pick it up again in the morning.
How would you describe the pace at which you work?
Well, it's an interesting pace. It's kind of a feast or famine. Some days it's really busy, and then there's some days that are a little bit slower, right? And there's lots of different variables with the weather or with just kind of lulls in the season or what have you. It just kind of varies. So I like the faster paced ones. So I kind of try to gravitate more towards the fast paced work. But when I get in here and it's just me and a client, that's relaxing for me because it's nice and slow paced then, and we get to spend the hour together. So.
What were your favorite classes in college?
My favorite ones were, I would say the social work program classes were for sure, my favorites, but the psychology and sociology ones that went with it. Also being a kind of a generalist degree, I got the opportunity to take other classes in biology. I took some weather and climate classes, which I thought were really cool. They were kind of neat to take. So it was nice that I was able to take a lot of different kinds of classes and arrive at the degree the same way. So.
How has your education prepared you for your career?
Well, in social work and specifically in the master's degree program, it was very structured, having two specialties actually. One in children and families, and the other one in mental health. So those two specific tracks really readied me for the clinical skill that I would need and the therapy aspect of my job. The undergraduate social work program was also a generalist program, so I got to learn things about policy and about community organization and about working with groups and about working with families and about working with individuals and working with other agencies and really the whole gamut of social work, which is one of my favorite things about social work, is that it's so broad. So the education, I think, really does a nice job of preparing and kind of getting ready for all areas that could be part of the job when you're done and graduated.
How has your education prepared you for your career?
Well, I think that was
Did
the
I
one.
just ask
Yeah,
that?
that was the one you just asked.
Have you worked in other jobs like this?
Yeah, I have. I used to work at a residential treatment center, and so I got to work with adolescents there, and so that was a fun job. And then I worked in a private outpatient clinic too, doing outpatient therapy at a private clinic. So yeah, I have had other jobs and that's the neat thing about social work, is that it's so big. There's a lot of different places and a lot of different age groups and people that you can work with. It can be working with really young kids, adolescents, middle adults, families, all the way up to, I think, one of the growing populations that's going to need more and more social workers, especially here in North Dakota, is looking at working with the aging population. That's our fastest growing population in North Dakota, and certainly services for those folks are going to be really vital as we look towards the next 10, 20 years. So I really see that area as really booming here in our area.
What would the starting wage for a social worker job be?
I would think undergraduate social worker is probably going to start in the low 30,000s, and then maybe right out of graduate school, the master's degree, it might bump up another 10,000, where you'd be starting, in the upper 30s, lower 40s. I would think.
Why did you choose this career?
It's kind of interesting. I think this is one of the careers that I don't know that I chose as much as it chose me, and it's kind of silly to say that, but I think for me that was just one of the things that I always liked helping people. I've always been drawn to helping people, visiting with people, and so when I sat down and looked at what kind of career, what I want to do when I grow up, I really looked at what kind of things I really like to do, and helping people, getting to visit with people, and getting a lot of diversity, a lot of different areas were things I really enjoyed. So to me, social work was really a no-brainer for me to go into because it affords me, that opportunity to work with people, to help people, and to get to do it in a broad, really diverse context.
What do you think it takes to be successful in this career?
I think patience is one of the things that I've really grown from myself, and I think that's an important part of it. I think it also takes some really good boundaries. We talked before about bringing work home or thinking about these cases. We work with a lot of really sad cases, a lot of really sad stories, and the trick and the skill that I think is really important to this profession is to try and leave that at work, as hard as it is, and then again pick it up when you're at work, but to not let the stories and the horrible experiences eat away at us personally. And so the skill is to manage, my personal life with my professional life, and to make sure that they both match up. So I think that's probably the most important thing in being successful for a long period of time in this field. Otherwise, you get burnt out quick and have to pick up something else.
Do you travel for your job?
I travel some, and that's actually one of the really fun parts, is that there's always continuing education and training that's available, and so most of the time it's in-state kind of training. Go to Fargo or something, and it's nice to be able to meet up with other colleagues. And we have kind of as big as social work is, and the profession is, it's nice that we get to network with people all across the state. And so I look forward to every April I go to a conference in Fargo, and it's there's 200 or 300 people there, and it seems like we all know each other, which is kind of neat to get together once a year and swap stories and talk about each other's families, and really are there and connecting with one another. So yeah, I get to do some travel, but it's not a lot, which is good, I think, too.
Do you work independently or on a team?
Both, which is I think is kind of a neat and unique aspect, is that most of the time it's just me working, but working in agency here like West Central is that we collaborate with other units, other departments, and so I may be working with a family that is also working with somebody over in like the addiction unit, where they're battling some sort of an addiction. So then we would work more as a team approach, or with a family that has social services involved, getting to go to team meetings and work as part of a team is also a fun part of the job as well. But most of the time it's working independently, working on our own, and collaborating with other clinicians here in our unit.